What up, gamers? We are back with some more modern action. This time we've got a Grixis Wizard versus Hardened Scale. Now, if you have not been seeing any of these decks, I mean, we've been showing the Hardened Scales quite a bit. I'd say like at least one video a week or every other week or so that we've been popping up the Hardened Scales. Part of that is that, you know, we've got like 3-4 players that have the Hardened Scales deck that they like to rotate around and play in between the other decks. There's some that are like, nope, this is my deck and I'm just going to be only playing this list. It is the go-to +1/+1 counter modular manipulation deck in Modern. And we see it kind of already going out, trying to do some stuff with Zabaz, Patchwork Automaton, all that kind of fun stuff there. But on the other side, we've got a Grixis Wizard list. Now, maybe there are other names to describe this list, but I feel like any list or shell that is running Flame of Anor and some wizards in it, it's a wizard list, right? Is it wizards, Grixis Wizards, Sultai Wizard? You know, like you are basically going, here is my shell using Flame of Anor and Snapcaster and Tameo. You know, like these types of wizard type creatures that are running around, and then whatever else you do around that shell, which is like, hey, what are the best red cards that I can run that go along with this? Well, things like Lightning Bolt, right? What are the best black cards that I can use? Oh, things like Orcish Bowmaster, right? So you get to sort of like craft a basically like a Grixis good stuff list, right? So we do see a little bit of that setup here, all that good stuff taking place right now with, you know, Bolt getting thrown across the board here, helping to kind of clean up this patchwork. But the market back comes out. What do y'all think about the yellow? What is the name of that like art style where it's like this kind of yellow foiling like this? It definitely is better looking in person than all the images that I've seen online. Like every time that I saw this online, I was like, that is just crazy. But I mean, with how many different arts and alternate arts there are for cards nowadays, I think it's one of those that you really get to stylize and make your deck unique in so many different ways. Like before, back in the day, it'd be like, okay, do you want to have foils or non-foils? You know, what kind of lands do you want to run, and the art for your lands to kind of make it unique. And sometimes you can see, oh, are you going to be running like specific old school art style like we see with the Tormod's Crypt here? But now it's like, oh, you want this like yellowed version, you want this, you know, masterpiece edition, like where do you want to go here? But yeah, look at it, the swarm of Bowmasters coming out, really going to be causing some problems. But Patchwork followed up with a Zabaz here, so triggers coming around. So this is one of those, like, there are key pieces within the Hardened Scale list. Of course, Hardened Scale helps accelerate what you're doing, but the other big thing is the Arcbound Ravager. So right now we're seeing a little bit of blocking because that is a very large, very powerful Orc army that's coming across here. So we're going to be, of course, trying to blast that. But, oh, before damage, Kaido, Bane of Nightmares, is going to be ninjutsu'd in. I've been having a ton of fun playing my Kaido in my Dimir Murktide list, so being able to see it in a couple other lists. Of course, we have it in this Grixis Wizard list. There's also an Esper control list that we've got coming up in the near future where a player is utilizing basically all the other planeswalkers that you would run in a blue-white shell, but they've added in black to get access to things like Kaido. So very cool ways to kind of help close out the game. Ooh, okay, so Arcbound Ravager here. And we've got an Agatha Soul Cauldron, so that's going to make a big difference. Inkmoth Nexus, Agatha Soul Cauldron, and Arcbound Ravager are setting us up that we could win next turn. Now, you might be sitting there going, how? How? Well, if we possibly get like a Walking Ballista or something like that, we can put a bunch of counters on the Inkmoth, swing in for damage, and then because it's a Walking Ballista, we start shooting infect damage. Pew, 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 pew. But that doesn't seem to be the case at the moment because we've got quite a bit of beats going to try to come across here as we see the stun counter gets placed on our Patchwork Automaton, and we are playing the ward cost there, but lots of damage. So it's the question is, Do we do some blocking here? Do we take the hit? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got to do some blocking. How are we going to block? All right, there's the confirmation. Oh, it's only 1 stun counter, not 2. So we do get a little bit of adjustments there. But if you guys are enjoying our content, of course, we do have our weekly coverage every Monday and Thursday for you to be able to enjoy. So, you know, if you're liking it, make sure you guys subscribe and follow and all that kind of good stuff here. But let's get into this. So yeah, Arcbound before damage. Let's do some Zabaz with the Soul Cauldron to put a +1 counter somewhere. My assumption is we're going to be putting it on the Arcbound. Now we're in this weird spot where because we basically dumped our hand, we are now sitting here where we can't activate Ink Moth to put a bunch of these counters on Ink Moth if something were to happen. But yeah, there we go. We're going to try to... Ooh, okay. So we have a 3-4 coming at us. We got to eat more things. 1 point of damage marked on it with the Bowmaster, but that's 7 total damage coming across unblocked. Oh, we can sack the land. I forgot we had the cheeky little Simic land that is an artifact land in there. Okay. So we get to survive the combat. 5 counters, 6, 7. So we need a walking ballista. Oh no! I was like, do we get a? Now we're in trouble. So Tamiyo dropping down, of course, has flying. So that Ink Moth line that we were all setting up to try to like win through is now gone. Oh, okay. Could we have won if Tamiyo wasn't there? Let's see. We have 5 counters, 6, 7. So we basically needed an artifact here, any artifact, preferably walking ballista, but any artifact there would have done, right? Let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that would have been so 8 counters we could have moved. Yeah, but there we go. So there's the blocks coming around, and because of the flyer, we do not get to win there. Sadly. But pretty good way to start things out. Some of these matchups can be a little bit more challenging, right? When you're thinking about, okay, the Bowmasters really carried that first matchup, and we got to see, you know, just how effective that was. And normally you think about in a deck that doesn't really draw a lot of cards, how, you know, why would you be so worried about the Bowmasters? But it, like, shooting the Zabaz, slowly growing and making an Orc army that's, you know, 3/3, 4/4s and just swinging across. But, okay, talk about a nice little affinity dump the hand here. Mox Opal, Welding Jar, and the Ozolith all going to be dumped onto the battlefield there. And a Ravager going to come out, or attempt to cast a Ravager here. End step, we're going to do Fatal Push on our Ravager. Do we care about keeping that alive? Because we do have a Welding Jar, we could make that choice. Depends on what's in hand. Looks like, no, we're okay with it. We're okay with that. Yeah, there's the Flame of Anor in hand. Flame of Anor is an amazing card if you're fighting against any artifact decks. But Psychic Frog coming out. So again, we talked about this. It's a wizard shell, but you're just playing the best cards in this color pie that go along with it. And I mean, I'm very excited to be testing out Psychic Frog in my new Esper Blink deck that I'm going to be rocking out with. We'll get some games of those recorded up here soon. Ooh, Ozolith going to be moving to Harbinger of the Seas. We've talked about this before. Why are some players running these sort of, you know, Harbinger type effects? Big part of that is the Urza Saga adventures that exist. Because players are able to tick that up to 2 counters and then drop a Harbinger of the Seas, the Urza Saga never ticks up to 3, never searches, never does any of that. So you're able to just make infinite constructs there. But we see an Arcbound attempted, but it's going to get met with a consign, put a stop to that. So now we're going to be in a bit of a race here. Looks like Frog going to allow us to draw cards, pitching 2 more lands, and we are trying to swing in with this 3/3 that isn't really doing what we need it to do, sadly. All right, a 5/5. Oh, another land. All right. I mean, what else can we do? Like, we can't sit here and stay on defense because of the fact that Psychic Frog can just fly. Yeah. There's 8 damage. Set us up for the potential win next turn. Let's see if anything gets top decked here. Nothing. Oh, that's tough. So sometimes that's how it is, right? A frog gets dropped down. You can't find an answer to it. And normally Hardened Scales lists don't really have a lot of like fight type effects. There's some will run like a one of in there. Of course, we have walking ballistas and things like that. But for the most part, if you don't, you're not going to run a lot of the stuff. You're basically saying, I'm going to manipulate my counters and try to pierce you and do these things and just not really have a good line to deal with certain threats. So that can be a little bit of a challenge there, especially when your opponent is dropping down these scary threats and full of removal there. But we get to see a little bit of the sideboard action, the cards that are brought in. As you might imagine, we do see Consigned to Memories are the big one. If you're running blue, that is the case. Oh, Kulgan's Command also be able to help deal some damage, get some cards back from the graveyard, and destroy more artifacts there. So I like those options there. So, yeah, you know, very, very cool list. Very straightforward. If you want to play Grixis good stuff, the Wizards list is the way to go. But that's going to be it. A nice quick one for you all to be able to enjoy. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Nice, fast-paced, quick 12-minute long video for y'all. But that's going to do it for us here today. Thanks so much for tuning and watching, everyone, and I'll see you all next game.